Good evening or good night or hi everybody who's a night owl and up with me, and hello to anyone who watches on the replay. I'm Angie, and I'm coming on the day 8 of the 14-day challenge that I'm doing of going live every day. And before I became a wife and a mom, I was a social worker. So if you don't know anything about that field or anything else, this is International Social Work Appreciation Month. And in Ray's video this morning, he was talking about, how everybody just wants connection and a place where they can feel connected to other people. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that tonight. And like my title says, this could be a recipe for us to change the world. It is my opinion, and I think there's a lot of evidence to support it, that basically human needs over the course of time have never changed, emotionally or physically. Physically, we need food, shelter, water, air to breathe, and that's what's needed for survival. Emotionally, the things that are needed for survival are basically the same things they've always been. And I'm going to talk to you about a few of those. And then I'm also, stick around, because at the end I'm going to have a little short story illustration, and just to kind of make the point of ways you can find community. So one of the basic needs that we all have is certainty, the need to feel safe and secure. You can see this very early on in a person's life. You see it really clearly if at some point in a child's life they have not felt safe and secure. It comes out in all sorts of ways. My job as a social worker, most of what I did, I worked with children and families, children that had been removed or were placed outside of their home for whatever reason. And again, you can see it quite clearly. That's a pretty basic need. The freedom of self autonomy and a sense of control. Granted, there's plenty of things in our lives we can't control, but we need to have a sense of personal control over those things that are our choices and the freedom to make those choices. Variety, an interest in developing our own hobbies, a sense of adventure, the ability to adapt and change when needed, a sense of purpose and significance, feelings of love and connection with other people, feelings of growth, feelings of contribution to society or to a family or to a group that you feel connected within. And so the big thing that I want to focus on is that connection. We all want to be part of something that makes us feel good and lets us feel like we are contributing in some way, that we're making a difference, that our feelings and opinions are valued, and that we're cared about. Sorry, lost my train of thought. And that's going to look different to other people, to certain people. Some people are more extroverted and they're going to be the louder ones in the group. Some people are introverted and maybe they won't say as much, but when they do say something, it's important that we listen, because usually it's something with great value, because they've been sitting back and observing and taking the time to really put their thoughts into words for the rest of us to hear. And I talked a little bit last night about how we homeschool, and in our homeschooling, we get to study whatever it is we want in a lot of ways, and we can connect it to things we're watching. So we watch a lot of Doctor Who, and Winston Churchill is a pretty big character in a couple of the seasons. And so I made Dietrich read about him today. And then I looked up some quotes, because I know he's a pretty quotable guy, but I also know some of his quotes are a little bit crass. So I did the looking up of the quotes, and several of them I really liked. And one that kind of fits with this theme of a recipe to change the world is we make a living by what we get, but we make a life by what we give. And so it doesn't matter how much money you make if you aren't giving anything back in some way. So I'm going to tell a little story here about two people and how they searched for something and how one found it and one didn't. So the first person, she is looking for that community. She tries all the things. She signs up for every product she finds. But, she has very little success when she's trying to reach out to her friends. She just doesn't feel fulfilled at all. She doesn't find what she's looking for. She doesn't find what she needs. Another lady tried other companies, joined some just for a discount, but didn't really have any luck in sharing. But one day her life changed. Her husband was suddenly unemployed, and she had to do something to help her family because unemployment only went so far, and but it was too much for them to get other assistance from the government. So she talked to a friend about the company she was part of, scraped together the cash, and started her own business. And within that business, she found community. She found people who really cared about her, who listened to her, who supported her. And there was genuine kindness and love and support. They helped her find things to do. They prayed with her over what she needed. And until her husband found a new job, she was able to put food on the table for her family. So I ask you, what's the difference in these two ladies? The difference is they had people listening who cared. So I found this other quote that I'm going to read. I wrote it on the board so I could remember it and not flip the screen. Connection is the energy that is created between people when they feel seen, heard, and valued, when they can give and receive without judgment. And that's a quote from Brene Brown. So because she was connected, she could succeed. And if you are craving something to help you feel connected, if you're craving community, message me. And I hope that we can talk about some things that will help you out. I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Bye.